let's bring on William Trainer here, the president and CEO of Vicinity Motors. There he is. William, thanks for bearing with us. How are we doing today?
Very well, thank you. Thank you for having me today.
All right, we've got your slides up. I see them. There they are. Go ahead and take it away. The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you. My name is William Trainer, president, CEO, and founder of Vicinity Motor Corp. We'll roll through. So our corporate overview here, we'd like to say we're in business already. We're producing products. We started off in Canada here up in 2008 with really a need in the marketplace. There was really a need for a mid-sized bus that didn't exist in the industry at that time. If you look at the transit market, primarily they're 40-foot buses. So what the industry really needed was a true 30-foot bus that could actually go into the neighborhoods and pick up the people and bring them into the higher routes. Because if you pick the people up in the neighborhoods, they tend to leave their cars there. If they get in the car and drive to a park and ride or something like that, they just tend to carry on. So we established ourselves up here in actually British Columbia with a strategic partnership with the province of British Columbia to develop a true mid-sized product. And it's been really, really successful here for us up in Canada. We have over 90% market share. And we'd like to say we're an industry leader in our space. We've got an established brand. We run a very capital light market. And we've given guidance of 150 buses or 55 million in revenue. We've had a very strong Q1 and Q2, and we've got a strong backlog behind us. And the industry, when we look at the industry today, it's just incredible what we're seeing. We come through the pandemic here, and the infrastructure funding that's come in place is just amazing to support the green initiatives. We've taken the product that we've had, electrified it, and then took the same technology and actually entered into a small truck as well, which I'll get into as we progress here. So the market today, when we look at the market for our bus market, it's roughly around 25,000 units sold per year. And we're really seeing the EV side of it is really what's on fire right now. All the agencies and the government states and whatnot are all trending and looking for electric vehicles. And as I go through the deck here and get you into where ours is, it's just we've created what we think is just the best vehicle in the market today. And what's driving all of this business, as I started to say earlier, it's really when we've come through the pandemic, the infrastructure funding that's come out and the strategic funding that's been allotted, both on the Canadian side and on the U.S. side, it's just unprecedented. What we're seeing, there's billions of dollars being allotted into greener vehicles, billions in Canada, trillions in the U.S., and that relates to actually funding for these transit agencies to purchase these vehicles with these funds that are in place today. So, we started off with really an ICE vehicle. Up here, like I said, in Canada, we have anywhere from really a 26-foot all the way up to a 38-foot vehicle. We've really been conscious on the price point that we brought these vehicles to market in. And really, what we want to say is we've really developed something with a clean sheet of paper. So the vehicle, when we actually originally developed it, it had to go into those neighborhoods. So it had to be smaller. What a lot of the OEMs at the time were doing is just taking their 40-foot unit and cutting 10 feet out of the middle of it. And it really didn't get into the neighborhoods or give any cost savings or total operation savings on the vehicle. But really, what we're talking about today is the electric vehicles and where do we sit in it and why do we think we got such a great vehicle? I think you start with, again, when we took a look at the, mid-sized vehicles and developed our Vicinity Lightning vehicle, and then, of course, took the same technology and put it onto a small electric truck, we looked at it and really wanted to hit the market. And the market, what we see in the U.S., and that's where the big market is, it's 50% private and 50% public. So we wanted to develop something that come to life and really made sense to the operators to actually operate this. This is what I'll do, and I'll get into what we are. So our flagship, this is just telling you the flagship, the initial vehicles that we have is close to 600 vehicles in operation today. And we have over 90% market penetration in the in the Canadian market, and now focusing on the US market. Part of what you have to do when you bring these vehicles to life is in order to qualify for a lot of the funding that's available in the US, you need to meet three criteria. You need to meet, first of all, it has to have over 70% US content. We tick that box very well. You need to test the vehicle in the FTA testing ground, and it's called an Altoona test because it's performed down in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And all of our vehicles to date that we've tested have tested best in class. So that's structural durability, maintenance, total cost of ownership. It's tested best. And this is really what we say is a testament to our engineering capabilities and what we've actually brought to market. The other thing that you need when you're actually three things is you need to manufacture the product in the U.S. So as we go through the slide deck, we've enhanced our positioning in the U.S. to really capture a lot of what's out in the marketplace. And we're putting a factory down in Washington State. We had a groundbreaking ceremony there, 4 to 6 weeks ago with Governor Jay Inslee. He was very excited to see that we're actually bringing an electric vehicle manufacturing plant into Washington State. And he's been very supportive. He granted us a $300,000 grant from the Governor's Select Fund for actually training our employees. The factory that we have down in Washington State is well underway. It'll be completed before the end of this year on a structural basis, and then we're just outfitting it with the specialized equipment to produce these vehicles, this electric vehicle down in Washington State. So we got strong support down there. But now I'll get into, what is our electric vehicle, and why do I get so excited, and why do I think the market should get so excited about this vehicle? Is that when we looked at our mid-size vehicle, we wanted to bring something to life that was right around that 30-foot mark. So it's a mid-sized vehicle, and it had to be able to get in and sail into the FTA funded, which is the transit authorities, and also the privates. So we brought this vehicle to life to actually come in and sell at a price point of about $350,000 to $400,000. And I think that is key because when you're looking at this, there's a lot of funding out there right now for the transit authorities on the federal side. But when you're a private operator, you either have to look at what subsidies are available and incentives in your state or your area that you're operating, or you really have to do a business case. And that's where I think this thing really shines, because when you look at the total cost of ownership over an 8 or a 10-year period, and you're paying $350,000 for this vehicle, or you're paying $250,000 for a diesel vehicle, for the $100,000, you're going to more than save that over the life of the vehicle. And that's where I say this makes business sense. And I think, when we look at the competition out there, there's a lot of competition. A lot of the companies are a lot larger than us that are bringing some of these vehicles to life, but they're bringing it in at a very high price point. We see our competitors bringing these same vehicles, say a 30-foot vehicle, to life in the $600,000 to $700,000 price range. Now, that's good if you're a transit agency and you're funding for that. But if you're a private operator, it doesn't make business sense. So now you ask, how could we bring this vehicle to life at that price point? And that's where it gets really interesting. So when we developed this product from the ground up, we really aligned ourselves with more of what the automotive industry was doing and looked at what their technology was. And one of the flagship vehicles that we looked at is a Tesla vehicle. And the success on the automotive side is they stay to a 400-volt architect in the battery and the voltage, and that seems to be what the automotive industry says to. So we want to develop this with a 400-volt battery pack. We chose a BMW battery pack. Tesla would have been our first choice, but they don't provide batteries to the open market. But BMW is the second largest battery supplier in the world for cars. If you look at what they've done, they've got over 500,000 battery packs in service today. So they have an extremely high safety rating. But the other thing is that the batteries are very thin. They're only 7 inches thick. So this allowed us to incorporate it and build it into the low floor section of the bus. And if you get off and on buses at all, or have traveled on your public transit, you want that low floor. You want to be able to get on and get off. And if you have disabilities, you want to be able to roll on and roll off. So if you have a high floor with steps, it's not as convenient. It's just not as desirable. So the battery packs we put into the low floor, we see our competitors putting the batteries on top of the roof, because what they've done is they've aligned themselves more with the commercial technology, which is 600 to 800 volt technology. And that technology requires specialized charging. Usually they operate and charge on 3-phase power, where ours, following with the automotive industry, we put a onboard charger on this vehicle and we sell it with the plug. So exactly like a Tesla car, you plug it into a standard grid, which is 240 volt single phase power. And I think this is going to really what's going to separate us from the competition that's coming out to life right now on these bigger vehicles, is that it's ease of use. The other thing that we did is we looked at what the school bus industry was doing, and they have hydraulic brakes on theirs. And there's a cutoff point to the weight classifications you can have. Usually it's 22,500 GVWR. So we kept our vehicle in that class range and below, and it allowed us to put hydraulic brakes on it. This is another ease of use situation where if you're a private operator and you want to hire drivers, they don't need a commercial air brake ticket to drive the vehicle. So we think we've come to life with a vehicle that really, really makes sense for the market today, and it's priced extremely well. And we've done that by actually developing the electronics that go in it ourselves. The brains of these electric vehicles, what they call a power distribution unit. And we developed that in-house ourselves, and that's what allows us to go out to the industry and buy these automotive, high-quality items at a considerably better price. This just walks you through a little bit about the vehicle. Purpose-built, low floor. Some of the items that I'm just touched base on. But the other thing that we did is we said, okay, we're developing electric vehicles. Where else can we take our technology, and what can we do with it? So we took the same technology that we put on the bus and we put it onto a small truck. This is a VMC 1200. It's a 12,000 pound GVWR. This vehicle competes in the class 3 to class 5 rating vehicles. And it's just tremendous volume. They do 400,000 annual sales in this vehicle range. So we're just developing our dealer network now for this vehicle. We finished up all the testing. The testing went extremely well. And now we'll be putting this out through a dealer network. So it's quite exciting. We've also, when we've looked at our electric vehicles, we're looking at what can we do with that technology. We're also looking at chassis and other items that we can actually develop with our technology and get some vertical growth in there. So this is the U.S. factory I was talking about, and this is key for what our objectives are in the U.S. This factory is 30 minutes from our headquarters up here in Vancouver. It's what we want to say Buy America compliant. It has a capacity of about 1,000 units a year, and we have other contract manufacturing capability for another 2,000. So we're very scalable with this factory and with our production. And again, this is key for our growth in the U.S. is having that factory in there. When we look at where we see the company going, it's my goal to build this company up to $1 billion in sales over the next 5 years, and this is really going to be key. One of the key parts of it. In the U.S., when we're marketing the bus, we usually market this through what they call state contracts. There's the state puts out an open contract, and you bid on, or you put your tender in on that, and then you're qualified as a vendor for that state. I'm proud to say that we are a vendor on the Washington State contract. We recently were a vendor on the California contract. The Washington contract allows Oregon to buy off of it. And then we've had some other wins as well through the U.S. state contracts. But we're positioned extremely well. We've gone ahead on the Canadian side, we sell direct. On the U.S. side, we've aligned ourselves with a very large sales force, the ABC group of companies, which is really nationwide. They have 3 mega locations in California, which was really key to us being able to get on that California state bid as well. So I think we're positioned extremely well for the growth that we want in our U.S. expansion. And like I like to say is, we're on a very early stage of our growth. We're positioned ourselves extremely well in the U.S. market, both with the factory and our scalability, and our partners that we have to help us sell the vehicles in the U.S. We're in business already, so we have a lot of incremental reoccurring parts business as well. We have relationships in place with a lot of the transit authorities, both on the Canadian side and on the U.S. side, and I think that's really going to help us in our growth here. As we sit right now, we've had a couple of great quarters, our Q1 and Q2. We are actually sitting right now with zero debt and no warrants or anything outstanding. So we have a very clean balance sheet and a very, very clean share structure. We've recently listed on the NASDAQ. I think that goes back probably a month or so ago. We trade on the NASDAQ under the symbol VEV. And, when you look at a company, you have to look at it and say, can they achieve what their growth is and what they want to achieve? And I would say yes. We got a very, very strong group, a management group here. Myself, I'm 30 years in import export. I've owned and operated heavy construction dealerships in the Pacific Northwest for many, many years. We've got a strong team behind us. We got a very strong board that's engaged on a day-to-day basis. So key takeaways before we open up for questions is, what I'd like to get across is that we are an existing company. We're not a SPAC that's coming in. So we're in the market and we have sales as we're progressing. We did 27 million in Q1. We did 19 million in Q2. And we just see our growth continuing on. We're established brand, 90% market share in key products or core products here in Canada. We're positioned extremely well on the U.S. side. We run a very capital light model. We're positioned for strong growth. We have what we consider to be the best mid-size EV in the marketplace today. And we see government incentives at unbelievable levels. This has never been seen before. The levels of funding that's coming into the market today, and we're positioned to really grab an awful lot of that. And we've taken the EV design that we have, and we're putting it in other vehicles, much like this VMC 1200 that I talked about earlier. So with that, I want to thank you, and I want to open it up for some questions and answer period right now.
We do have a couple questions from the chat here, William. Let's go with this one. What are your plans going forward to attract institutional investors?
Well, we are. We will. We just got to get our, get our name out there and get some eyes on us. We do plan to do some road shows coming up to get some institutional investors to look at us. We don't have any coverage to date. We're working on that right now to see if we can get some coverage. But we're really a undiscovered little gem here. We have virtually no coverage, analyst coverage at all as we speak. So we're working to get that addressed.
Have you participated in the Run on Less cross-country demo? This is from the chat as well.
The Run on West?
No, Run on Less. Okay.
No, I'm not familiar with that.
Okay. Something I always like to ask every executive who I talk to is just, especially ones of public companies, is what is the next immediate catalyst that we need to be aware of?
Well, I think, for us, you just stay focused on our news releases. I've been saying this for quite some time. We've been working extremely hard here to get orders booked and orders out there. I just like to say, just keep your eyes on us. I think we're just starting to get into the position that we want to be in with our growth.
All right. William Trainer, President and CEO of Vicinity Motors, ticker VEV on the NASDAQ. William, thanks so much for joining EVCon today.
Well, thank you for having me.